And going live. Yo, what is up, guys? DPS Podcast, episode 59. 59. Man, 59 episodes with slow-mo. You should have seen, he was about to literally out me in the chat just because we weren't live yet. But, you know, I had to handle some work business.
And why? No, what was that when I was about to out you, or was it what happened afterwards?
Okay, but you was about to out. I was handling work business.
Just explain to them very quickly what you were doing and what I was about.
Eating popcorn, so I didn't want to. I didn't want to smack in everybody's ears.
So you just decided to just smack in my ear.
Yeah, I could do that to you.
Well, why can you do that to me, but not everyone else? Like, why do you feel lesser of me? I just don't understand.
Listen, I'm not the one. I'm not the one that cuss you out just because I'm mad all the time. You cuss me out, sir. You pick on me.
What?
You pick on me.
I'm so offended and hurt.
Yeah, you should be. You and all those spaces you in every week, hurting all those people's feelings too.
I haven't been in a space all week, sir.
I know. I haven't seen you. Congratulations. No notifications have popped up on my screen saying slow-mo deprived the sleep backslap hasn't been sitting in someone's spaces.
I've been deprived of gaming because I've been troubleshoot gaming out here.
Well, I definitely understand what's going on there, man. But yo, episode 59, man, and been a great ride with the homeboy Slow-mo backslapping. And by the way, Slow-mo, how you been, man? What's been going on with you?
Well, I just been trying to play games. Emphasis on the trying. And I'm gonna keep bringing this up until we get to the topic. But no, I've been good, man. I've been good. Actually, got a lot of work done today, as well as also had a really cool stream earlier today. So it's been good. How about you, man?
Tiring. My brother. Last week my brother got here. He left yesterday, and I never made so many trips. And shout out to After His Passion with the $10 holla. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We got shout out to Carlos. I'm about to say what? Oh my god, I was about to pronounce his last name wrong. Go ahead, Slow-mo, before I butcher it. Say the last name.
Oh, hold up.
Go ahead. Can you even do it?
Alvarado.
What is it?
Alvarado.
Okay, Alvarado. Okay, I couldn't get the Al and the Verado. I couldn't get no. I'm about to call him Alvarado. I couldn't get the Alvarado.
You know what? I would do all the words that you can't pronounce. Okay?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, and I will walk you through all of the math problems that you need help with, sir.
What? Excuse me? I'm not bad at math.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that? I don't know.
When did I get some math wrong? Explain that to me. This is new to me.
I'm just saying.
I just kind of feel like you just threw that out there.
I kind of did just to see if it would stick.
It didn't.
Carlos Alvarado with the $2 super chat. What are we at 6 million plus? Forza is fire. Halo in December. Yo, listen, man. We gonna definitely talk about Forza for the last time for a while because we done killed Forza for the last 3 episodes, but it needs to be talked about because Forza, a lot of people are loving it. Like Carlos just said, 6 million people playing it plus. Halo right around the corner with some information we heard, which we're going to talk about a little bit later in the middle of the podcast. But other than that, Slow-mo, yeah, like I was saying, my brother, he was here. I'd never made more trips to Micro Center in my life in 4 days. Never.
I would love to take trips to Micro Center.
Oh, man.
It's like Disneyland.
It is, but I try to stay out of Disneyland because Disneyland is expensive.
Yeah, I was actually watching a video. J2
Yep, he did a build at the Tulsa one I swear I looked at that video and I was like, this is the most. This video don't make sense to me because I'm like, he was like walking by GPUs that I could only fathom and dream of seeing in a store. I'm like, no, they staged this. These GPUs definitely ain't just available in the store.
There's no way you got GPUs sitting on shelves. GPUs haven't been sitting on shelves in over a year.
Did you
So
see
look,
what
they
GPUs too?
staged that entire thing just for his video.
That
Those
lets
are
you know how
empty
much.
boxes.
Listen,
Those are empty GPU boxes.
they said we just need to send manufacturer boxes. No, but for real though, if that's the case, and I do agree with you, that lets you know how big J2 is, man. And I love Jay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I watch all, like when it comes to build stuff and like water cooling and stuff like that, I watch all his videos because he's like, him and Linus are like my kind of go-to when it comes to like just tech in general.
I don't know about Linus. Linus don't really know as much
Well,
as he appears
Linus,
he does.
no,
he has
I like,
good team around
that's
him
what it
that
is.
knows a lot.
It's not
yeah.
Linus. What's his name? I forget the guy that does the Wham show with him. When he used to be, you know, because he does the float pain part of.
I know you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. But when he was like always there with Linus, that's when it was a lot. I think the information was kind of a lot better because he was the one that was in front of the camera. But ever since he left, like, you know, Linus Tech Group and went over to the float planes part of it, that's when Linus became more front and center in most of all the videos and stuff. And I'm not going to say the videos have gotten worse because, I mean,
no, they haven't.
They haven't gotten worse.
What I'm saying is that there is live Linus and then there is pre-recorded Linus.
Yes.
Pre-recorded Linus is reading off a script that his entire team has put together. They did their research. They got it all good. Live Linus, when he does his live streams, says off the wall stuff that he thinks is correct, then has to go back and apologize after the fact. Like, he's put his foot in his mouth multiple times. Like,
with Steve,
the whole
Gamers
Mark
Nexus
Cerny
and stuff too.
Yeah,
the stuff with Gamers Nexus where he was talking about their review of the certain graphics cards and stuff, and they went back and made videos like, yeah, we like Linus, but we're gonna have to set this straight.
See, this is why, like, Gamers Nexus, J2. Who else? Hardware Unbox is good.
Hardware Unboxes. I watch Bitwick. I watch him. I watch Paul's Hardware.
Paul's great. Paul's Hardware is awesome.
Oh, yeah. I love Paul's Hardware.
Yeah, but let's get into it, man. We just
we also got, let's see. We got Phil DVG with the $2 super chat. Slow-mo's taking WFH to a new level with PC gaming. Huh? Slow-mo.
Working from home?
Yeah. Working from home.
I've been working from home. I've been working from home technically for like a year and a half.
It seems like forever at this point, doesn't it?
Yeah, which I don't mind. Like, I get my work done. I don't have to drive all the way to, an hour and a half in the mornings.
No, you ain't missing that.
Yeah, my commutes, I don't miss them at all. But yeah, every now and then I get to, I get some downtime with work. I get to, go live and stuff, and that's what I've been doing. Like, I actually had a 3-hour stream today.
Make sure you guys are in there with your alt accounts and your double accounts and on extra PCs so you can get this. Listen, every time that man says he's streaming, I want to see y'all all up in there. I didn't know. That's why he didn't. Did you tweet it out?
I tweeted out every single time.
Okay, so I just didn't see it that time because I would have surely been in there with my phone sitting on the desk, not even paying attention, just accumulating points. But John H.
Guess what I streamed? Oh, actually, no. Do the super chat. Yeah, then guess what I streamed.
John H. with the $2 Canadian super chat. Forza looks like Red Dead 2. Okay, listen. Forza looks good. But there's a difference between cars racing around. I ain't gonna say empty.
If you want to say the environments look like Red Dead 2, I can definitely see that.
But the character models,
oh my god, Red Dead 2 is kind of only game that kind of matches Red Dead 2 when it comes to like detail and high quality character models is probably The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. And we're gonna,
Yeah.
and I guess we could talk about that when we talk about the visuals for Forza when we talk about that in a second. But I do want to shout out a couple people that came through. We got Erodimus was up in the chat first here. We got Replicant. You know, my man finally got a chance to make it because I know he's across the pond, so it's a little harder for him sometimes. We got Spider up in the chat. Shout out to you, bro. We got Franco Tech up in the chat. We got Blade X in the chat, and we also got Lethal Terminus in the chat. So shout out to you guys for coming through, being some of the first people that are here. But Slow-Mo, let's talk about for the last time, probably until Game of the Year comes around in December.
Yeah, we're probably gonna be having another conversation about this next week, probably, because I feel like the announcement of the nominees should be coming out fairly soon. It's like what is it, like 4 weeks away at this point? So yeah,
we're gonna either be talking about did it get snubbed or does it deserve it? Those are that's pretty much gonna be the conversation
next
week.
conversation.
Exactly. So Forza Horizon, we can easily say one of the best ones. I think 3 revolutionized the actual like template that they have now. But this is the first time that I think they kind of moved it forward. You still have a lot of the old bones there, like the essence of it of 3 is still there, but the visual quality is just up there. It's unmatched at this point. So, unless we got some Game of the Year discussions coming up in the next couple of weeks, what is your final thoughts on just Forza Horizon? I know you put some time in it. You know, the good, the bad, the ugly. What do you like, but what do you think, and what do you think they need to do to make this game go to just a completely different level?
Wait, say that, I couldn't hear you. Say that last part again.
No, I said outside of your final impressions on what you think of this current game, what do you think they need to do to take this franchise to the next level when it comes to their next entry in the franchise?
They need to add a real story into this. They need to let you get out your car. Just look, it's already an arcadey open world racer. They do have little mini cutscenes, in-engine cutscenes where you get out your car and you run over to something. Like I did a mission thing or whatever where I was closing like steam holes or gas, whatever, I don't know what you call it, but I had to run over these little like areas where steam was coming out, but then I also had to like run to the shack and put on the outfit, and all that stuff was like pre-rendered. Like I didn't do it myself, not pre-rendered, but like like scripted. I didn't do it myself, but like I put on a suit and got into like a buggy or something, and then did a race after that. But like they need to actually allow you to get out and move around and do some of that stuff yourself. I think that would kind of like open it up a little bit, maybe allow you to kind of talk to other NPCs and do things that are just kind of a little bit outside the vehicle. I know that may sound like this is coming from a guy who's not like a big hardcore racer. So I'm pretty sure hardcore racing fans are like, I don't want to do that crap. But I think Forza Horizon is already a casual racer anyway, and they've nailed it. I think that, adding a little bit more stuff that you see from other games would just kind of like broaden that appeal a little bit further. And I mean, frankly, like you got Fable, and Fable's using Forza tech. So, Playground, the second Playground studio is using Forza Tech to make the Fable remake. You're going to have those kind of assets to share. So, if likely, and we clearly see it with the way the crowd looks, their strong suit is not people. I mean, we see it when you before you start a race, when you see your corny looking character and their corny animations and stuff. Look, that's not their strong suit. So the experience that the overall studio is getting by doing Fable could have some residual benefits and advantages for Forza Horizon in the future. But I do kind of feel like after this one, you don't need to come out with another one in 2023, okay? Like, give it a break. make sure the next one you come out with, excuse me, is a massive leap over what you've been currently doing. Because I feel like if you go into 6, and 6 is barely a marginal improvement over the previous 2, the way this one is, then you're probably going to get your first Forza game in a very long time that's not a 90 plus rated game.
Yeah. Shout out to Erodimus with the $5 holla. I got a bone to pick with you two sounding like hardcore Peggy Sue's yesterday on Brap trying to please the Pony Nation.
Wow.
Hey, I swear he was rapping when he said that.
Wow, Exbotimus. That's very interesting take there. I thought I was just being honest. What about you, Forte? I mean, I don't know about that.
Listen, man, man, we love gaming. Slow-mo kind of tends to he probably falls more PlayStation than I do because he doesn't even have an Xbox. He plays on PC and he has a PlayStation.
I do have an Xbox.
Oh yeah, you do. You got an S. I forgot. I'm sorry. Okay, well, he still falls more PlayStation than he does Xbox, but he does support all platforms where I more tend to fall Xbox. But we cannot deny the fact that Sony has had a better 2021.
I mean, like that's not even. If you talk about, what the conversation wasn't strictly 2021. It was first year.
It was just first year. Well, that's
the first year. So it's like November 2020 to November 2021. How are you going? And saying one platform has had a better year than the other doesn't mean that the other platform did not have a good year. Yeah. Both platforms have had a good year. Just that PlayStation's had a slightly better good year. Yeah, and I thought that was obvious. But I guess I'm a Peggy Sue for admitting the obvious here.
I think that's you hit it on the head. I think it's just mostly just kind of lost in translation a little bit. Most people kind of live in the moment. I'm not saying Erodimus does this because sometimes I think Erodimus just he messing with us because he peoples, so he gonna give us the crap just because. But I do think a lot of people.
This is why I give him a little crap. We call Exbotimus.
Right.
I think that actually works.
One jab deserves another jab. I feel you on that. But I do think most people have very short-term memory because Xbox, yes, they have been doing very well in 2021. But that's just recently, kind of. We just started seeing games like the Ascent and stuff hit Game Pass. Yes, they surprised us in March when we got MLB as a Game Pass, a gaming Game Pass, and then they also surprised us with stuff like Outriders and things like that. So I definitely want to give them their credit, but those games aren't their games. Sony came out ready, they came out cocked and loaded, pause. They were ready for this generation. They had studios that have games out, with the system day one, and we can't ignore the fact that this is the first generation that we had
3 launch games ready to go as soon as the system launched.
So listen, if Halo was able to come out last year, and we definitely see the state that it's been in the course of the last couple of months, it seems to be better now. If that game would have launched last year in the state that they're talking about now, we might be having a different conversation because we know the multiplayer is fire and Halo is good enough in order to kind of push the narrative forward. But we can't count Halo as part of the launch window or the launch year because it doesn't come out till after that year.
It's not in that year.
That's the only problem.
There is a lot of recency bias going on, and not necessarily like not people being disingenuous or anything, but just that they are. Xbox is doing really good right now, absolutely really good, and I'm glad to see it. The turnaround is awesome. I'm excited. Like we're going to talk about some of the games that have been spoken of that haven't been announced yet, but are on the horizon, and I'm excited about those because those are kind of the things that I'm really looking forward to. But all that said, like the none of that talk is really answering the question of which platform has had the best first year.
Right. Yes.
And one platform had 3 exclusive games ready to go at launch. The other platform didn't have a single game that was exclusive to its platform and not on the other platform until months and months later. And so like those things can't be ignored. You know, one platform had some quality titles that came out for it earlier this year, and then the other platform got some more quality titles a little bit later. Like it's, and I do agree with Fonz in the chat. Shout
It's
out to
very
Fonz.
subjective, yeah.
It is subjective, but my opinion is I think the PlayStation's has had a better year. I do think that next year is going to be extremely interesting. How things turn out with you got God of War Ragnarok, you got Redfall, you got Horizon Forbidden West, you got Starfield. There's going to be a lot to discuss in regards to what these two platforms are doing, especially with the acquisitions that they're making, the moves that they're making. All that stuff's going to be great. But this first year, PlayStation has got it done. Got it done and I think it's obvious in things like sales. The PlayStation 5 is outselling the Xbox Series consoles. That probably wouldn't be a shock to anyone. But I think what is a shock to people is that the Xbox Series X remains a sellout system seller. Like
no, you didn't even think that was going to happen, Slow-Mo.
No,
you thought you was going to be able to walk in the store and find one.
Right. I thought by January you could just walk into a store like, yeah, man, let me get that Series X right there. Nope. Now, Series X is on sale. Nope, they're gone now. Like you just finished your sentence. Yep, and they went away that fast. That's the way it's selling, you know. So it's been a good year for both. But in my opinion, Sony has had the best year.
So, and if I wanted to throw the Xbox, Legionnaires, the biggest bone ever, the biggest thing I told people last year is the direction that Xbox is going in with Game Pass, the games that they have on the horizon that they at that time they didn't even announce yet, but we have heard of a lot of the games at this point. It's only a matter of time until that conversation that we just had about the first year about PlayStation winning, Xbox can literally flip that in a nanosecond. And it just comes down to the games. If the games are compelling enough and the games are what people want to play, I think, like Slow-Mo said, next year is going to be not a make or break year, but it's going to be a year that's going to tell a lot of what Xbox is going on. Because not only do you have 2 new IPs coming out next year in Redfall and in Starfield,
potentially 3.
Yeah, potentially 3.
With what we're going to talk about that later. Actually, I don't know. Your title kind of doesn't really speak to both of those games.
Yeah, I didn't have enough. You don't have enough characters.
Yeah, I get it. But potentially, like if you read the Jez Corden article from Windows Central, potentially 3 exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem games could be coming out next year. And the third one that hasn't been announced yet is something that I'm really, really interested in, considering the kind of focus that they're putting on it, because it's a game that it's similar in game design to a game that I'm currently playing right now, which we can talk about later. But let's. I feel like we're already kind of super off topic because we really haven't even gotten to the first
Forza
topic
was just finishing out the thing, but it's gonna be a real interesting 2022 when it comes to that. But for me, the only thing I think Forza, well, there's a couple of things I think Forza needs to do a little bit to go to the next level. The one thing that is missing is that real life, like I want not damage, because I don't think damage is really the thing, but I do want to, how when you're in a photo mode and you can see the tire tracks and stuff behind the car when you're turning the camera.
It's added detail. In addition to ray tracing only being available in photo mode as well.
Those are the things that will take this game to a whole nother level. Having real time stuff like that. When I go through the mud, it doesn't just have this set pattern that hits the car. It's dynamic. It actually, if it hits it at a certain angle, the mud can go halfway up the windshield. It can go halfway through the corner of the windshield. Yeah. Those are the things that this game kind of needs to do. But because I think games like Dirt do it really, really well. But the thing is, Dirt isn't an open world racer like Forza is. So you kind of got to
they have the available bandwidth to be able to do things like that. I kind of feel like I agree with you. That's like the next step in getting Forza to the next level as far as improving upon what's already an excellent racer. I kind of feel like they probably haven't been able to do things like that due to it being a cross-gen game.
Limitations,
That,
yes.
yeah, the limitations, because again, this is a game, this is something that's going to have to run on the 2013 Xbox, and there's just certain, of course, like visuals, scale, but to add that level of detail to going through the mud, or if you drive like me and you miss a turn and you hit a wall, then like having damage that makes sense due to how the vehicle was hit, like all that additional animations and additional things that, or additional like damage that needs to be put in the correct place due to the impact it did to the vehicle. All that stuff is going to need to be added into memory, and potentially are things that unfortunately the old consoles just aren't capable of doing anymore. So
right. So yeah, so we're moving on to the next topic. Do want to shout out a couple of people that showed up.
no, before we do that, I need to discuss
Oh, go ahead.
the Forza PC.
Oh, yes, please.
Okay, so the ordeal that I've been through with the Forza PC, it's been rough, and I will I will preface this by saying that not everybody on PC is dealing with this. I've been playing with people who have been playing on PC and they got no problems whatsoever, and I'm happy for it, because I wouldn't wish what I've been dealing with on anybody. But essentially, I have an issue in my rig where when I'm playing the game, I'm getting bottlenecked in my GPU at like 40% utilization or 40% GPU usage. So 60% of my GPU utilization is going unused, and it's capping it pretty much my frame rate at like 40 frames per second. If I hit the tab button to kind of like pull up the start menu or something, I will it will go straight up to what it should be at, where my settings are currently at. It should be peaking my GPU at 99% utilization and having my frame rate well over 100 frames per second, like in the 120 range. And that's how it was playing initially when I first installed the game day one. Now, I could never stream the game without there being a problem, without the game crashing, without the game freezing. And that's an issue. And I've put in a trouble ticket with Playground Games for it and described everything for them. But this other issue cropped up after that. So I feel like they're doing things. They're doing quick fixes, or I forgot what they call it. Hot fixes. That's it. I think they're doing hot fixes on their side that isn't helping my situation at all, because I was fine when I couldn't stream it, but I could at least play it, because I could always do what I did today, which is just get on my Series S and stream it off my Series S. It doesn't matter as far as my viewers on Twitch go, because Twitch is displaying it, outputting it out at 1080p, 60 frames per second anyway. And that's what the Series S is doing. So why not, right? Like, I had people asking me which version of the game this is on, and I had to tell them it was Series S, and then they would go, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I can see that. So it's like the level of detail, of course, isn't there like it is on PC or the Series X, but when you're streaming,
it's close.
And yeah, it's close, and when you're streaming, people aren't going to notice. But from my personal experience, when I'm playing the game off stream by myself, it's not good right now. So I've made videos which I can't upload to the trouble ticket, but we're corresponding through email now. So if they ask me for the emails or the videos that I took that kind of displayed the behavior I'm seeing, I'm more than willing to take care of it. But I've been looking online, I've been seeing a number of people dealing with the same issue, and it's just frustrating, because it's like there is no solution at the moment. But it's cool. Still enjoying the game. It's a great racer. I'm actually enjoying it a little bit more than I did Forza Horizon 4.
Same.
Because when I played 4, I pretty much played it solo. I didn't really play with a lot of people. And recently I've been playing with a lot of people that I know in the gaming community that have been enjoying the racer, and it's been fun. It's been fun racing with them and having a good time.
Yeah, definitely. Well, first of all, I hope your situation gets taken care of and you don't have to struggle and not be able to play Forza the way you want to. But Erodimus, basically had a very interesting statement to tell you. He said, "Slow mo.
Yeah, I
That
was about
is
to respond to
crazy.
that, but I'll say it verbally.
It seems like the best place to play these new Xbox games is on a Series X.
It is what I don't know what a Series X is, but the Series X,
Series X.
um, no, because the best place to play the games would be the best place that has the best hardware, which isn't the Series X. But what is crazy is how we continuously keep getting games that are releasing that aren't ready. And maybe that can kind of roll into what our next topic is about games coming out that aren't ready.
Yes, and we will roll right into that subject right now, which is Battlefield 2042. So there has been a lot of buzz around Battlefield just because it hasn't been a modern style Battlefield game in almost half a decade, because the last one was in 2014 when Battlefield 4 came out. So
Right.
so a lot of people are really interested and really want to dive into this game. It just seems to be the perfect storm for it, because Call of Duty kind of fell off a little bit. Not too many people is thrilled and happy with that game. And a lot of people are looking at Battlefield as like, okay, well, Battlefield definitely can make a stand. But there was reviews came out today, and there was a lot of interesting takes on the different reviews. And I don't know if you listened or watched Skill Up's review, because he probably had the most genuine review of this I've seen, because he literally came out and told you exactly what you could, what you couldn't, and what people better not say you could do because you weren't able to. And
Right. It's
so
funny
why won't you go into the
because
conversation and tell us
people,
what all happened with this?
people pick and choose when to like Skill Up.
I love it.
It's
I
funny.
love Skill Up ever since Division.
Well, look, I've been following him since Skill Up only had 1,000. Basically the amount of subs I have on my channel.
Yep.
Back like maybe about 5 years ago, I started following Skill Up. When he was he covered was the Division 1. And he's a good YouTuber. His opinions on things I don't always agree with. I think I probably disagree with him more than anything. But that said, he's usually pretty spot on when it comes to certain things. And outside of him shilling for Cyberpunk, I usually can trust what he's saying about something. But Skill Up came out and said that similar to Cyberpunk, since I mentioned it, DICE and EA did not allow review codes for the PlayStation and Xbox, which is very if you remember, that happened with CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk, and it turned out they didn't do that because the game was so broken on those platforms that they were trying to manipulate how the reviews would turn out. And hopefully that's not the case that's going on here with Battlefield. I know there are a few people who are playing, I know of, that are playing on PlayStation a little early, and they have said it's been all right. No one has been like complaining about like terrible performance, but so far Skill Up said that, and yeah, I definitely got these measurements right. So the best GPU on the market is a 3090, and one of his PCs has a 3090, and he playing at 1440p, not even 4K, with ultra settings, which is pretty demanding in itself, but no ray tracing on and no DLSS. He was only getting like 70 frames per second.
That's disgusting.
Yo,
With a 3090? That's
with
disgusting.
a 30 freaking 90 with 24 gigs of VRAM. And yes, DICE is recommending that you use a 3060 is the recommend. Now, that's not the minimum spec, as some PC gamers have been telling console gamers who have been laughing about that. The minimum spec is supposed to be a 1050 Ti. But as I have said multiple times before, just because they say you can run it
Don't mean you should.
doesn't mean you should or you will enjoy it. So And of course with PC you can lower settings, you can make it work. You can make sure you can get 60 frames per second. That's something that you can't do on console. Whatever they give you on console is what you got. On PC, you can to a degree, you can make your hardware work for you. But that's pretty demanding, for a 3090 you only get 70. Then he said that he actually switched the preset for the graphical settings to low and didn't change anything else, and he only got 90 FPS out of that. So I mean, I am curious to see how things turn out when I play it tomorrow, because I have EA Play Pro on PC, and so I have access to it. I pre-installed it yesterday, so I'm all ready to go. I did like some of the thoughts that he said about hazard mode.
Hazard mode and Portal, man, I can't wait.
Yeah, I definitely want to try those modes out. But I mean, look, when the greater public is able to get their hands on it tomorrow, then we'll see what's really good with it, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, look, if anyone says they have a review on the Xbox version or the PlayStation version, not only should they not have a review for that, they should even have a review for the PC version, because they had play sessions, like play times, where you could where the reviewers could play the game, and in the short limited time that they were allowed to play it, you only had a maximum of like 10 hours.
Yeah, he said 4 hours on the first day, 2 on the second, 4 on the last, and each day was a different game mode.
Yeah, and that's not enough. That's not enough time to do a review at all, especially with all the different modes that are available at launch. All these, now I'm looking at your footage. All of these like graphical glitches with the lighting,
screen, it's just flickering.
The flickering, all that stuff, from what I've been seeing, has been fixed, which is good.
Thank God.
But overall performance in the beta was better as far as like frame rates and all that stuff. But all the graphical glitches that were going on in the beta are not. It's not as bad as it once was. So, it's a Battlefield game. If you thought this was going to release and not be a buggy mess, I mean, or not have some issues at launch, not be a little rough, then you haven't paid attention to Battlefield games. So
yeah, no, I agree. I ain't gonna. The funny thing is, I wasn't disappointed when I saw his review on it. I was like, this is typical. And then in my mind, I started thinking, like, am I gonna play this like I played Battlefield 4, knowing it was busted, glitchy, and broken? But am I gonna just say it doesn't matter? It's Battlefield and I love it. Am I gonna keep playing it? And the question is, I don't know, because my time, like, as much as people don't realize, our time as we get older gets more and more valuable. Like the things that you would do 7 years ago, you look at it now like, what was I thinking 7 years ago playing that game as much as I did, knowing it didn't work half the time. Now I wouldn't trade my experience in Battlefield 4 for anything, because it kind of it's ingrained in me. It was something that made me truly love the franchise more and more. But is Battlefield 2042 gonna do that? I don't know. I mean, I'm getting it. I'm gonna have it tomorrow, so I'm definitely gonna jump in there and play, because that's just how much I love Battlefield. But if this game is not performing the way it needs to perform on console when I boot it up tomorrow, Forza, like we talked about in the first topic, Forza is a game that I'm still playing, and the game for on console at least, I don't have issues. I can roll around with my friends and do everything I want to do in the game and have fun. And then there's other games, Call of Duty. I have Vanguard. I mean, I don't too much care for the multiplayer, but I actually enjoy the single player a little bit. So I've been playing that. So this time around, Battlefield has a lot of competition, where I felt like when Battlefield 4 came out, it was kind of it was a cross-gen game, pretty much just like this one is, cross-gen across multiple platforms. And I just think that they need to find a way to get away from this whole narrative that it's okay for our game to not be 100% functional at launch. We shouldn't be thinking like, well, it's DICE. DICE is good developers. They made a really good engine. Battlefield is like literally the sweet spot for everything they like to do.
Questionable and a really good engine. But
Yeah, it is a question. No, it's a good engine. I mean, it's just not good in other games other than Battlefield. I don't think the engine, and that's the thing. I don't even think it's the engine in this game. I just think it's just they try to do so many things in a Battlefield game. Like when you go for all out chaos, you don't think that has something that's not going to, wreak havoc on just the overall ones and zeros inside your games. The net code is going to be all over the place. The tick rate might be all jacked up. There's so many things that happen in a Battlefield game that you don't even really think of until they happen. And that's my biggest thing with this game. So I'm not encouraged to think that this is going to be anything but a disaster on day one. Like I said, I'm glad because I think don't the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate people get 5-day early access? They get
10 hours
starting tomorrow, right?
Yeah, starting tomorrow.
See,
yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking, because I didn't buy it yet. I'm thinking I'm just gonna burn that 10-hour trial first to see before I do buy it, because all your stuff.
You don't have EA Play Pro?
I do have. Oh yeah, I do have that. So I might as. But I don't want to play it on PC. It's already terrible over there. I know what it's gonna be like on PC, Slomo.
Yeah, well, at least you can play it, man.
That's true. But
play the 10 hours. Play the 10 hours on Xbox, and when those 10 hours are up, if it's not at launch day, then play the rest on PC.
The big thing is not cross progression. It's just cross play, right?
I don't know.
Like your progression doesn't move from system to system. I think it's just.
I know what you mean, and I don't know the answer to that question.
I need to find. Because if that's the case, I would. If that's the case, I would play it on PC because I have the ability to do that. But there was never a moment leading up to this point that I was like, man, I'm not going to pick up Battlefield day one. And today I saw that I saw those reviews, and I was like, nope. It's too many other games to be playing. So I'm just going to rock my 10-hour trial. I'm going to run that out and I'm going to make a decision. I mean, more than likely I'm going to buy it, but if I don't have to spend $120 to get the early access version of it, I'll just wait till next week and pay $50 or $60 and get the standard version, because as long as I can get in there and use my 10 hours wisely, that's all I care about. But in general, I think the game's going to be fun. It's going to get better with time, but it's just, we gave Everborn Saga, me and Sloan, we all gave him a hard time yesterday because he was kind of misinterpreting his viewpoint on what he was saying around this same subject when he was kind of part of the problem. But in general, we do need to stop.
You gotta stop buying these games at launch.
Yeah, that's exactly. And
meanwhile, I'm buying games at launch.
that's broken and not playing, and not even playing them. So that's my whole thing. So I'm choosing not to buy this game tomorrow because and that might be a different thing if they didn't have the early access for the 10 hours. Then my feet will be to the fire and I might break and buy it because I love Battlefield. But since EA is giving me that buffer, I'm going to use that buffer to make a educated decision on what's going on with this game. But it doesn't look good, and hopefully it gets better over the course of next week. Do you got anything else you want to add to this?
I mean, not much. I'm gonna play it tomorrow. If I don't, and the Rodimus asked me about this. If I am having issues with it tomorrow, then I probably will stream Bright Memory Infinite, which became available, is out now. And if you bought Bright Memory on PC originally, actually on Xbox as well, if you bought Bright Memory, the regular one, that's only like an hour long, then you get Bright Memory Infinite for free. So I just downloaded it, haven't played it yet. On PC, it's got DLSS and ray tracing and all that good stuff, and so I'm gonna check it out. We'll see with that, but hopefully I'll be able to play Battlefield tomorrow, and that's my goal.
Yeah, cool. So I do want to go up top. We got a couple of super chats too, but I do want to shout out some people that came up in here. We got J-Mo Money, he came through. Shout out to you. We got Fonzarelli, Gamers Talk Live. That was an amazing show I did with him, and he just had the great Eric Cuts for the win on there last week. So make sure you go check out his channel. He does really good discussions and stuff with people in the community, highlighting people and stuff like that, which is what we all should be doing out here. We also we got the medic, the MedQ, shout out to you, bro. Sir Taz is up in the chat. And then we got our first super chat. We got John H with the $5 Canadian. I just got an invalid format error on my LG C1. As soon as reply to my Red Dead 2 comparison, anyone else get this error on their LG C1 Series X? I don't have one, but if any of you guys do, can y'all please, if he's still in the chat, reach out to him and tell him what he might be able to do or anything like that. But the biggest thing is just check message boards, go to their forums and stuff, because there's a good chance that other people probably had that issue too. Shout out to the homeboy Game Over Brian, to my Pegasus brothers.
Who Brian is talking to?
I questioned for Legendary Forte and try Dark Lore of the Sith skimp when upgrading Skyrim to PS5. Do trophies pop automatically? Slow.
Now that one.
That's a good question, dude.
Because is there a PS5 version of Skyrim now?
There is. I think there is a PS5.
Didn't they do like a 20th remaster of that game by now or something? I thought
it was called the Skyrim Legendary Edition before this, and now it's called, what is it called now? What, Anniversary Edition?
I don't know. I don't.
Listen, speaking of which, while we on this subject, shout out to 1111. It has been a decade since Skyrim released on 11/11/11. We're in 11/11/21.
We still talking about that.
We're still talking about that game, and we're still going out and spending $60 on it. Yo, listen, man.
Hey, real quick, shout out to Blaze 4K in the chat. What's up, Blaze? He was actually playing Battlefield a little bit earlier before we got started. So shout out to him, man.
Yeah, shout out to my man.
Yeah, go ahead, man. My bad.
No, yeah, but yeah, so yeah, shout out to you. That's a good one, because part of me wants to say it's a brand new game, so it more than likely doesn't pop trophies for the Legendary Edition because it's called the Anniversary Edition this time. But I will tell you this: if you play it on your PS4, and then you get all the trophies on there, and then you pop them, play on your PS5, and upload your save, then guess what, Brian? They will pop.
I don't think so.
I think they do pop.
There's not a PS5 version of that version.
Is there not a PS5? Or if there isn't, then it's nothing. You just play it on your PS5 and pop PS4 trophies.
What? No, we're gonna move on. Don't play Skyrim anymore. How about that, right? No trophies should be popping for Skyrim on the PS5 because it's freaking Skyrim.
Shout out to Game Over Brian with another $5 super chat for the best podcast. Blessed Lord, thank you, sir. Appreciate you so much. And we also got Aim Down Scope up in the site. We got Expert. We got the Sly Crow. We got Dark Side up in the chat, and we got another $2 super chat from Philly DVG. The trophies won't pop. The disc will pop out the tray.
The PS5 was like, man, get this crap out of here.
This whole game, what is this? is that Velvet? All right, Slow-Mo. So let's talk Halo, man. Let's talk about the IGN first.
Hey, but before we do that, let's address something that the Mid IQ just asked us. No GTA Trilogy talk.
Oh, okay. We can talk about. Okay, wait. Well, I didn't put it in here because, well, first of all, because a lot of people. The funny thing is, I had like 10 or 11 people, maybe more than that, come to the store to buy it today. I didn't realize that they delayed the disc version of the game. They delayed the disc version till December 7th. So I don't know if that has something to do with just with printing of the disc, or maybe there's just an exclusive deal just to have it digitally only for the first month, because it's kind of weird that happened. But yeah, people walk in the store trying to pick the game up, and they were like, yeah, people are playing it right now. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. It did come out digitally, but
Take-Two should be ashamed
a lot of people
themselves.
came up and tried to buy that game today, man.
Yeah, have you seen the screenshot?
I have seen the screenshots of it.
I have been, ever since I saw them screenshots, I have been dying. Some of these characters look like Stretch Armstrong, the Black Mr. Fantastic or something. They got these big old hands. It's just like, like the character model. Some character models look worse in this version than the original game. Imagine looking worse than a game that came out like 2 generations ago.
It was more than 2 generations
This is
ago.
the biggest scam I've ever like Take-Two does not care.
They just gave them hands, man. They just made their hands look a little bit more closer to hands. And rounded off their faces and added lighting.
And you want to know who's to blame for this? You already know where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
All of you Grand Theft Auto stands who consistently kept GTA 5 in the top 20 NPD
163 million, baby,
for years. This is all your fault. Where they just feel like they can just take advantage of you in any which way they want. You know what? Nah, we ain't gonna put no work into this. We gonna give you all the GTA games you liked, original assets.
Oh man, I gotta.
We gonna put it over on Unreal Engine 4, but we're not gonna put any work in. Look, games that are that old shouldn't get remasters. They should get remakes. Remasters are for games that have come out within the last decade. Okay, then that point, character models, the design of the games is still somewhat modern, and you could take what other modern achievements that we've done in the hardware and in the way the games are designed and apply them to that game within the past decade. When you got games that's been these games have been out for like 2 decades, it needs far more than a remaster. They typically have a lot of like game design or controls that are outdated that people don't use anymore, that don't make sense. There have been new, better methods that have been implemented that everyone is using. They typically are so ugly that just remastering and trying to get it at a higher resolution is only going to highlight how terrible the game looks with textures and all kinds of other stuff. It's just no remakes. That needs to be like the universal truth when it comes to bringing old games back. If it's within a decade, remaster. If it's past a decade, remake. Giving you guys a remaster, disgusting. But you know what? They're going to get away with it.
They are going to get away. They've got away with it.
That thing is going to chart on the sales charts the next month. Top 5 guaranteed. Top 5 on sales guaranteed.
Oh man.
All right, yeah, we can move on now. I just wanted to, touch on that since MetaIQ brought it up.
Oh no, I really want to showcase this really bad now. I don't even care what it look like on the screen. It's pretty bad, bro. Oh, it's pretty bad.
Oh my god,
it's pretty bad. I'm just gonna put it in the middle. Let's just let this play. Let this play. Look at these characters, bro. Okay, the lowrider look good still.
Oh my, this is.
Look, he has it's like literally legs going into an upper body. The cars look. They're showing off the little.
Don't say they look good. They don't. No, look.
They try to show ray tracing.
Look how big the Uzi is. It's like an AK.
Look, the ray just look like it's just like paint.
See, look, they put all the detail. Like, look, these are still shots. Like, well, I mean, some of the real hideous ones are still shots too. But like, they try to they like improve the lighting and stuff like that. Like, they tried to
At
do
least they don't have to
certain
use.
things here and there, but the character models they absolutely did not put any work in on.
And if they said they would have to use more than the fact that this needs a Ryzen CPU. Come on, man. Come on, man. Get off this.
Recommended
a Ryzen CPU for a game that can be played on a toaster. Interesting. All right.
I like that. It looks like a mobile game. It looks like a mobile game.
It is a mobile game. I think China War
mobile games look better than that. Actually, my bad. I apologize. The mobile games.
Listen, I think China War on 3DS or DS look better than that game. Let's be for real. But
Yo, hold on, hey, real quick. Is it on Switch?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I'm about to say, because if it's not on Switch, that's shameful.
It's definitely on the Switch.
Switch can run
the Switch is going to be the definitive version too, because you can play GTA on the go. But no, if you down for GTA Trilogy, I mean, it's free in Game Pass. Matter of fact, isn't it free right now?
One of them is free
right now.
And yeah, I can't remember which one, because one's free in Game Pass, one's free in PS Now, and of course, because Nintendo don't have a similar service, they don't get one. But I get now why they put them in day one in those services. I get it now, because they knew they was bending y'all over a barrel with this one. So
yeah. So Miranda Sanchez did a writing for IGN first when it comes to the Halo Infinite single player impressions, and a lot of people were looking. Well, first of all, we found about this yesterday, and it was like, oh, okay, we're actually going to see some stuff or hear some stuff about what people think of the campaign and stuff, and like kind of how it's structured a little bit. Slow-mo, I know you probably got a lot of things to say about how this is, the rollout of how they want to let the single player be perceived of how it is in game instead of just showing it themselves. So what do you think about the overview and the impressions that you heard from IGN?
Why did IGN have more detail in their hands-on preview than you had in your own campaign overview?
Facts.
So your campaign overview was a cut up, hiding all kinds of stuff kind of trailer that was only 6 minutes long and touched on some things, but not in any great detail. And then IGN gets like 15-minute, at least 15. I mean, they edited theirs too, of course, but at least 15 minutes of footage, as well as explaining how the mission structure is, and that's like, of course, that her, and I also watched the video where Miranda and Ryan McCaffrey from IGN were discussing their opinions on the gameplay and their impressions. But of course, a member of 343 can't talk about that with any like level of being objective, but all the other information that they provided could have been provided in the campaign overview, and that's the kind of stuff that should have been in there. But it seems like they cut that kind of stuff out so that IGN could have their day in the sun, which is a little weird for me. I do
IGN.
Right. What it kind of reminded me of overall was in the structure of how Miranda kept saying that a lot of the points that you can take are optional, and how they were like picking and choosing methods to taking these areas out, like using a battle rifle from distance and picking the enemies off to like save the Marines. And so like a lot of these the optional missions are attacking a certain stronghold or area, saving Marines that have been captured since the Banished won the fight for the Halo ring against the Chief and the UNSC prior to the game starting. And so you can take these points, but they're optional. And if you do take them, like, you'll get Spartan cores that you can used towards upgrading your armor, which is cool, but
Right.
it seems like you don't need that,
Right.
which gives me okay, so remember in Gears 5, Act 3 was very divisive for Gears because that's the act where it was like in the snow region. It was a snow area. And there were, and even though I enjoyed this, I know a number of people who didn't care for it. They kind of wanted the typical structured, on the rails narrative where you tell me what the next part is. Like we finished the mission, there's a cutscene, we got another mission. That's what people wanted from area. Yeah, you could have gone straight to the objectives that you need to do to finish the act, or you could have gone and tried to save the the two civilians that were out, like that had left their camp, and you could follow their trail. And it was optional stuff that you could do, but you could do it. And I think this is very similar to that, where it's like a semi-open world. Well, it is open world, but like actually not even open world. It's hub world, but semi-open world in mission structure, where you don't have you're not doing fetch quests. Like, you know, the chief isn't being asked to go, you know, bring back 20 chickens for some for you
Right.
know, it's there's a point to it. It's just that it's not 100% necessary, which is fine, because if you want to do those things and upgrade your armor fully and completely, you know, so be it. Now, visually, it ain't much different than what we had already seen. It looks better than what it showed last year, but not significantly better visually. And I think we've all kind of come to terms with that's just visually the way it's going to be. But you know, did it make me any more excited to play the game, the campaign? Not really.
Right.
What about you, man?
So, I do want to talk about, like you said, the visuals. I do think they improved them. I think a little lighting goes a long way, because I think that was the number one thing that was wrong with that original reveal. Like, everything looked flat because the sun didn't come out for some reason, even though the sun was in the middle of the sky, but there was no sun. But in general, I think it looks. I came to grips last year, or earlier this year, I should say, when they actually put a date on this game saying 2021, that we weren't going to get a huge graphical update to this game. That was part of my whole reason of saying that the game probably shouldn't come out to 2022, because I thought that would have been the direction they kind of wanted to do. They wanted to do a little bit more, but they already picked the aesthetic that they wanted to go with, the artistic style that they picked for this game, more in line with Halo Combat Evolved, which I don't have a problem with. As long as the gunplay and the gameplay is good, that's all that matters. So I'm willing. I don't have a problem with the overall look of the game, but I know some people are going to think it's, you know, it doesn't look next gen or anything, because it looks like something that we already had before, but just a little bit prettier, which that's fine for me. I just have problems with the graphical hiccups the game was having when it comes to pop-ins and stuff like that, which for the most part, it looks like they alleviated, but they haven't really shown us like spazzing vistas that, you know, really can show that off from like a super.
We haven't
super
seen unedited footage since last
exactly.
year.
So, you know, and only time's going to tell on that, but I do want to give them a break on that, because I do think they did a lot of work to get this where it is. I do like the fact that you won't, like, as soon as you jump into the game, it doesn't feel like you'll be overwhelmed as soon as you get in there, because she said the biggest thing for me is when you go into these open world games, even though she said this game, it is open, but it's kind of hub based, because you have little islands that are on a broken Halo, and as you progress through the game, you'll get unlocks for certain areas where you can call in more and more ordnance and stuff, so you can get, you know, pelicans and stuff that can take you to other areas. And I forget the name of the ship that you can get, that's the one-man ship, but you can fly across the Halo ring, and at certain points you even alleviate that you will be able to pretty much go across the whole Halo ring, but it's going to take time to get to that type of upgrade path. So I think initially it's going to keep the game kind of grounded and centralized to the areas that you're in, which is something I'm a super fan of. And she also talked about the narrative points that I said in the game, like how are they going to get you in and out of plots when it comes to the single player narrative. And she talked about how they like dungeons and stuff like that. You know, that was the one thing when you was playing like Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4, and even 5, when you know, chapters were chapters. You know, each chapter had a particular thing that you had to accomplish, and you was like a middle, beginning, and an end. Whereas with a game like this, where it's more open, where does the story start and where does it begin and where do you even trigger it at? So it's really good to see that they actually thought of that and said when you go into these certain areas, you're locked into the narrative for that portion that while you're in there. And as I said, I really hope they would do something like that, and it looks like they actually did do that. So I think that's going to make the story. It's a theory.
I have two theories actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
My first theory is that, so we often ask the question, if we aren't getting X at launch, then what were they going to give us last year before they delayed the game?
Yeah.
And what have they been doing for a full year if these things still aren't ready? And I believe that, you know, some of the rumors that talked about how before Joseph Staten arrived and took over, it was a very different game in game design.
Oh, you think it was completely open then?
Right. And I feel like, well, it was kind of underway before they made the announcement to delay. But I kind of feel like that's what the bulk of this past year has been about, making it more like a Halo game, but while still also kind of keeping some of the new things that they wanted to add into the game. But Joseph probably didn't feel like, this doesn't feel like Halo. This feels like something else. So we need to make sure this feels like Halo, which, you know, we'll see how it turns out. I've always been on the side of, you know, you guys stay current. And that doesn't mean you have to copy your competition, but some things that you should do to make sure that your game appeals to a broader audience that is continuing to grow and get bigger, while your hardcore audience either stays the same or shrinks. You need to do some things that also appeals to other gamers, and not necessarily become a Call of Duty or a Battlefield, but just kind of, you know, just some of the elements that they have that all first-person shooters have nowadays. You need to make sure you standardize those things, which I believe they have. So we'll see how it turns out. But my second theory is story related.
Mm-hmm.
My second theory. So they brought up how this new AI the chief has is called the weapon.
Yeah.
And it was designed to take out Cortana. But then we've seen cutscenes where the weapon has been like, well, my job was supposed to get rid of Cortana, and Cortana's nowhere to be found, yet I'm still here.
Right.
And so that lack of like detail or information from the weapon has me thinking that prior to the game starting, the weapon already encountered Cortana. Cortana killed the weapon and then took the weapon's place.
Oh.
And maybe like sectioned off some of its data from memory that Cortana would have kind of maybe given herself away. So instead, she's like hiding in plain sight kind of deal. And I feel like that would end up being revealed later on, that the weapon is Cortana the whole time. But we'll see.
Oh man, you just literally dropped the bombshell on the whole chat. Now, if this is correct, I want everybody to, you know, as you're playing the game, and if you get there before any of us get there, I want you to just put on Twitter #Slobo was right. And then we'll
I often am.
And then we'll talk about it on we'll talk about it on that episode of DPS. But no, that's a really good theory. I definitely, you know, the whole Cortana, you know, situation, and the whole, you know, they talked about it a lot, even in this review or this impressions of the single player. You know, they even talk about like how the situation with Cortana is like kind of uneasy. You really don't know what's going on, and it's like, are you even going to get a resolution to the situation with Cortana? But I also think, after hearing what you just said, that this could just be the beginning. You know, Cortana, this could be a long a long-term play for 343 in order to flesh out a, you know, particularly a new character that really isn't even a new character when you kind of think about it. But I think in general the game looks good. I agree with a lot of people what they're saying in the chat. A couple of people are saying that they're not really worried about the graphics. Ken said his 3090 is going to make that game sing, which as it should. I mean, it's not making
Yeah.
Battlefield sing right now, but it definitely should make Halo sing. But
Right.
And for the most part, everywhere we played it, performance performance has gotten better and better in all of the different flights they did. I know pretty much the last flight they did, Slow-Mo, you didn't have no issues or anything with it. So it seems like they finally got the bugs out of that. But like I said, until we play this single player ourselves, everything is up to interpretation. Because
Right.
I
I also kind of feel, and my bad, I just want to say
No,
this
go
real
ahead.
quick. I kind of feel like because they talked about ongoing game, 10 years, all that kind of stuff. You always hear from games that are live service ongoing games, that they may have also made some changes to the story. Well, maybe not some necessary changes, but maybe seeded new storylines for further content that will continue the story down the line. For example, like let's say Atriox is going to come back, right? Maybe Atriox isn't in Halo Infinite's base campaign, but maybe we'll see him or have him speak about coming in to deal with the chief based upon how it turns out, stuff like that, right? Or maybe they may add Lock-In or Team Osiris, add them back later on in further content. Actually, I think the voice actress for one of the members for Team Osiris either confirmed or it was leaked that she did some lines for 343. So that could be in regards to the TV stuff,
could be.
or it could be in regards to the actual game. So I kind of feel like Team Osiris isn't done, Locke isn't done, and they may be adding things in there to kind of like get people thinking about what might be coming in the future. And that wouldn't shock me either.
That's definitely possible. I definitely agree with that. So in general, the funny thing is the game is just under a month away. We have and I didn't put this up here, but I mean, we could add it to this as we're talking about Halo real quick before we move over to our next topic. We do have the Xbox anniversary stream coming up on the 15th. What do you think Xbox is going to show at this reveal? Do you think
they're going to I think they'll show a little bit more of Halo. Have they given us the whole look? Okay, this is what you're going to see here kind of thing yet?
No, not yet.
All right, well maybe they okay, with some of the information that has come out, then maybe we can talk about that in a few minutes. Maybe this will be a nice little segue.
Yeah.
Maybe they will talk about some of these games that are still unannounced. So the IO Interactive game isn't announced. Project Dragon. The Compulsion game isn't announced yet, and Obsidian's RPG mystery game isn't announced. And I kind of feel like if it's going to be any of those games, it'll probably be the Obsidian game. What do you think?
Yeah, that's yeah, because Obsidian, how many games are they working on right now? We know Outer Worlds is like 1,000 years away.
Grounded.
Yeah,
Outer Worlds.
They're still working on Grounded. I forgot about that one.
And Project. No, it's not Project anymore. We actually have the title of this game. It's called Pentiment. I think it's called. Yeah, Pentiment.
Yeah, I know they actually named it. Out of the
loop. I think Jeff Grubb revealed the name last week or something like that.
Jeff Grubb out here just. I wonder what these developers be thinking.
We gotta get Grubb on again.
We gotta get Grubb back on, man.
We gotta get Grubb back on, man.
Out here, man. He be out here just telling all of the secret sauce.
He just be dropping just dimes, just all lackadaisical. I was talking to Naughty Dog the other day. They're working on a big multiplayer game. What? Like.
Oh no. Yeah, but no, I think so too. It's a lot of stuff going on. You got celebration of Xbox. They're asking people to, tell them about their favorite memories of Xbox, which actually is a really good thing. And we're going to segue into this. I meant to put this as a thing, but it wasn't going to take as long, so I didn't want to make it its own topic. We were talking about achievements and people hiding them yesterday. I don't want to talk about that because I think that's boring and I think it's stupid, but I also know that it's something that needs to be talked about, and I do appreciate you guys doing it, but we ain't doing that on DPS today. I want to ask you, Slow-Mo, when it comes to achievements, what in the 20 years that you've been playing on Xbox, what was the most memorable or hardest achievement you ever got?
We do this already?
No, we didn't.
I feel like we did it. Oh, we did this on Scum, guys.
I probably wasn't there.
Okay, let's see. Hardest achievement or memorable. Is it an actual achievement, like achievement unlock?
Yeah, it's an achievement unlock. Yeah.
Okay. Well, most recently, I 100%ed achievements on the Division 1. And the very last achievement, probably the most elusive one, considering the amount of people that had it, which it wasn't like many, it was like 0.02% or something like that. People had this achievement, was in the survival mode, extracting 100 survival caches out of the dark zone, which is extremely hard because that's basically completing the mode, is getting out of the dark zone and extracting, and it's hard to do, especially if you're like, say, playing it in the PvP and not the PvE mode. But you gotta deal with NPCs that are far stronger than you because you're in it basically starting with nothing but a pistol and a hazmat suit that isn't protecting you from the elements. And you build yourself up within the past hour where you're dying from some kind of infection, and taking on hunters and all kinds of stuff to actually get out of there and complete it. And the maximum caches you can extract with is 6. So to actually complete 100 times, you need to have, oh man, it's a lot of runs. And a lot of luck in successfully completing runs, and I finally did it. And I actually streamed my last playthrough of it. I think I talked about it before. On
GPS, you deleted it and everything. You were so happy that you deleted the game.
Oh yeah. I uninstalled the game right then and there. I was like, there's just no further reason for me to have this game installed on my Xbox. It's done. So that's probably like most memorable recently. I'm pretty sure I have more, but I'm old, so I can't.
I mean, I know I have probably more up-to-date ones or even more ones that were harder, but it's like, for me, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, or Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, the what's the name achievement at the end of the game? What the heck is the name of the achievement? The Mile High Club achievement. The only reason that, and it wasn't, after doing it so long, it really wasn't hard. It was just repetition.
Explain what the Mile High Club achievement is.
All right, so you had to do it on veteran difficulty. It was the mission you did after you beat the game. You had to, you know how at the beginning of Call of Duty they had you run the gauntlet and stuff, and you had to like do it in a time. It was time based. So this is so basically this is the same thing, but it's like the real scenario, but it's on a plane. So you have to go all the way from the bottom cabinet of the plane all the way to the top executive suite where the president is, and you had to do it in, I think it was 35, it may have been 45, I think it was 35 seconds. Had to go across the whole plane from one floor to the next floor, killing people, not dying, in order to basically jump out of the plane with the president before it exploded and stuff. It was really hard. Very, very taxing on my mental, because it probably took me about 3 or 4 hours of doing it. It wasn't like I said, it wasn't the most hardest achievement I probably ever did, but it was like that was back at the time where achievements really mattered to me. and
Mhm.
I was super into that. Like that is like the Modern Warfare series for Call of Duty is by far my favorite one. I know some people like the Black Ops series a lot more, but Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3 those were the pinnacle for Call of Duty for me. And I kind of fell off after those. But that achievement of all achievements, I remember sitting there on my couch. I think it was like 18 at the time or 19 at the time. And I was just like going at it like 6 o'clock. I think it was like 4 o'clock in the morning when I finally popped that achievement. And the cool thing was you had to do it on veteran difficulty. And the moment I kept getting closer and closer. And when I got to that door and I almost choked the shot because you had the bad guy was holding the president. You had to shoot the guy in the head. And if you shot the president, you had to do the run all over. It was fun, man. That was one of my favorite achievements. It probably was, like I said, the hardest, but it was the most memorable because I will always remember it.
Cool.
So we got bounty with the
Bunty.
oh, I did say, yeah, there's no O in that. We got Bunty with the $5 super chat. You know how you just glance at something and you see something else? Yeah, I know, but you don't do that, Slomo, because you actually take your time. Forte doesn't really. How long have they been making Halo Infinite? Because did they make the engine first before the game? I'm trying to find that out. I'm deleting Destiny.
Okay, so I believe they have been working on Halo Infinite for 6 years, I believe. And there is, although this isn't confirmed, there is a rumor that initially it was supposed to be on Unreal Engine. And then I guess when they decided to turn it into a open world thing, or open world-ish, and ongoing game-ish, that they decided, you have a commercial running?
What? No.
Yeah. I'm looking at a commercial here. Okay, never mind. All right, so so at whatever point they decided that they were going to end up trying to turn this into a 10-year game or a 10-year process with Halo Infinite is when they decided that they would just make their own engine, or basically upgrade the Blam engine and then have it be Slipspace engine instead of licensing out Unreal for that long period of time, for Unreal Engine 5 or 4.5, whatever. So I mean, that's the rumor. That's not confirmed, but yeah, part of the reason why it's taking so long is because they were building an engine at the same time too. So
yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's move on. We got a lot of people, they want to talk about this Compulsion leak of the new IP that they might be working on. I know you were talking about it on Twitter. I saw it like right towards the time I was watching the Halo stuff, so I looked at it, but I didn't get a chance to like really dive into it. I got some of the tea leaves, but why don't you fill us in on exactly is going on there? Shout out to Rand Outdoor. I did check out his video because he did talk about it yesterday. So tell me what's going on with Compulsion. What stuff was leaked out? I saw Jez is out here telling people everything all over again. So what's up?
So Jez Gordon from just say Jez Gordon. See,
Not Jeff.
I'm getting it from you. Jez Gordon from Windows Central did an article earlier today. Tweeted that article out talking about two games that we have not heard from before. So he did mention already that there were a number of unannounced projects with some studios internally, but two studios that they're a third party that they're just working with as a publisher. Project Dragon, which is from IO Interactive, is supposed to be some kind of fantasy game with dragons in it. And Project Belfry from Stoic Studios. I ain't even heard about that one, so I don't know anything about that one in particular. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. I do know about that one. That's the one that's being developed by the Banner Saga developers. So, although it doesn't seem like it's in that same vein as Banner Saga, that's, it's a decent developer. Now, all that said, Jez is tweeting out talking about the project name, which is codename Midnight, for Compulsion's game. And Compulsion, if you guys recall, Compulsion was one of the first developers that Microsoft acquired when they went on their spending spree and shore up their first party studios. And Compulsion is the developer of We Happy Few, which was a bit of a disappointment. But I think that they're kind of a little bit of a dark horse in Xbox Game Studios, at least in my opinion. I feel I did not enjoy We Happy Few. I tried to play it twice and it just wasn't for me. But that's it. All that said, I remember 2 years ago, the studio head for Compulsion, who used to be either the co-founder or the the main founder for Arcane at one point in time, he was talking about very candidly about the mistakes they made with We Happy Few, and it was a level of sincerity in his comments about their own work and being just upfront with the mistakes they made and how they made those mistakes and how they're finding their footing as a developer and what they want to be in their own culture. Because like prior to that, they only made one other game and the studio was very small as it was growing. But I think that they're a studio that has a handle on what they want to be and what they want to do, and not making a game that starts off as a survival game, then turning it into a narrative driven game mid development is going to mean that they're going to be able to make a game with in Midnight that's a little bit more focused in one particular area and making sure that one area is good. And so for this game, apparently it's supposed to be a third person perspective, story driven narrative game. And shout out to Lord Cognito, the homie, with hashtag just one. I think we got the just one. This might be it, Cog. This might be the game that you're looking for. I'm very interested in this one. I don't think we're going to see it anytime soon, though. It's We Happy. I remember Compulsion stating that they didn't really start in earnest on this game, on their new IP, until they were completely done with We Happy Few. So at the most, they probably have only been in development on this game for like a couple years now. So we're probably not going to see this game for a little while. But there's that, and then there's another game that we might actually see next year called and that one's called Pentiment from Obsidian. It's only being developed by a dozen developers within Obsidian, so it's a smaller title, indie style, as Jeff Grubb said. But it's being led by Josh Sawyer, who is famous for Fallout New Vegas and also kind of famous for Pillars of Eternity, which is a well-known Western RPG that a lot of people love. But this one, the reason why I'm excited for this one is that I'm playing right now Disco Elysium on PC. Really fun game. I think I might actually stream myself play that because it's hilarious, and it's in the dialogue, the voice acting is phenomenal.
Yeah, you need to stream that.
Yeah, that game is actually like my first playthrough only lasted 20 minutes, and I was just like, "That's it? What happened?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I gotta run this back." So it's like, it's good. I like Disco Elysium. It's got a lot of the game design in it is very unique in the sense that it's a RPG, Western RPG, where literally like it can go so many different directions very, very quickly. And when I played through it the first time and then my game ended, my second time playing through it, I wasn't even in the same area where my game ended the first time. So it's just like there's a lot going on there, and seeing Obsidian kind of do their take on that with the kind of talent that they have in RPGs is really, really interesting. But they said that game might actually be out next year, which kind of shocked me. That he said that it could have a launch in 2022. So that was about it. So all that said, I mean, Forte, what do you think about that?
Look, man, I remember when everyone was talking when they're talking about Compulsion, they were like, we really don't have any hope for this studio, but it seems like I think it just ultimately comes down to the funding. You know, We Happy Few they were trying to be very ambitious with it, but then they had to scale back a lot as time went on. And by the time, I think the game was kind of a shell of itself by the time they actually released it. But they
Let's keep it up, but I don't think Gearbox is a very good publisher.
Well, we know they don't know how to manage money.
Right.
We definitely know that part of it. So
the books be looking cooked.
Well, they be cooked and they be going up instead of down.
Right. Godfall, as pretty of a game that was, Godfall is extremely limited. Everyone who played Godfall, and God bless all of you, include myself. But
did you beat it?
I did beat it. It was probably one of the worst games I played last year. The combat was the combat isn't as bad as a lot of people said it felt it was. It was all right, but it was repetitive, and not in the sense that like as bad as like say Rise on the Rome, but it just wasn't all that deep. The skill tree was kind of just not good. It wasn't a good skill tree. But my biggest issue, the reason why I bring up Godfall, is that it was extremely limited of a game. It had very nice cutscenes, but there were literally like only 3 areas really. Like you would have a map, and it would be like the water map, the forest map, and whatever. All these different like areas. And even though the game would say, "Oh, you're going to this area to find this enemy," it would be the same area just remixed. And so like everything looked the same, and then you had this one little hub area where you would go talk to this floating head and this other guy that was like a blacksmith or something, and it was just the most basic of conversations. They clearly didn't have a big budget to go all out with a lot of stuff, and they had like a decent premise. It's just there was nothing they could do with it. And so that's Gearbox Publishing. I mean, another one they published is, I think actually the only good game they published was Risk of Rain 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everything else they publish seems to have very limited budgets and be very, very small projects. So We Happy Few was way more ambitious than of a kind of game. So was Godfall than they typically publish, and they just aren't up to that. So maybe with more funding from Microsoft, and them kind of understanding where they went wrong with We Happy Few, they could avoid some of those other pitfalls and actually make a really, really high quality title.
No, I agree. And once again, another thing from Grub and Jess Corton doing their job. They out here making Xbox fans happy. That's all that matters. But no, I just like the fact that Cognito might finally get the thing that he wants. Now, I don't want to put that much pressure on Compulsion, because that's what people are going to be looking for. When you say third-person action-adventure game, even if it's not exactly what Sony, produces, that's what it's going to be, compared to ultimately. So,
but there's a level of quality that you're looking for, and yeah. I feel like if you want to make great games, then you shouldn't shy away from potential comparisons.
No. I don't think the comparisons are the thing, but I'm just saying, I know a lot of people that's going to be ultimately what the game is going to be benchmarked against, and they just need to be ready for that. Not that we don't want it, because we do want it, but
I just want to rise to the occasion and make a game that's worthy.
Right, and that's the thing. They need to know
that kind of clout.
And they just need to know what they're getting themselves into, because you say third person action adventure over the shoulder, it's we don't have a lack of those type of games out here, and those type of games tend to be the ones that can hit for game of the year for the most part.
Yes, if you nail it, yeah, you're good. You're good.
So yeah, looking at it, the coming. Go ahead.
Shout out to KSante in the chat. No sad dads in that leak. Trash. No. Okay, I don't think there was any. I don't think there was any sad dads in this one. There might be a sad dad, and actually no. Matter of fact, let's talk about some of the details from that Compulsion game.
I have it right here.
That there was something said here that I kind of did a double take about it, and I kind of felt bad about doing a double take, but then I did. But regardless, so it says in the article, Midnight is described as a quote coming of age quote tale
Mhm.
drawing upon inspirations from America's Deep South. Now, if you look at the images, like looks like a woman of color as one
Mhm.
of the images, and there's like these monsters that it looks like they are mutations that progressively get like more mutated as you get further in the game or something. But it's supposed to
Mhm.
be a kind of like an action game.
Ugh.
I can see there being some people who are upset
Uh-oh.
about this. You
Mm.
got a black woman in the Deep South who's the protagonist.
Mhm.
Who gonna be the antagonist? Who gonna be the people transforming?
Uh-oh. Why not?
People gonna be upset. I'm here for it. Let them be upset. I will collect their tears and I'll use it. Put them in my mug and drink them up, early in the morning. But yeah, I can see that being a very
Well,
very
remember
interesting thing because
remember,
there's a
Zomo.
Southern Gothic vibe, which I've never heard of that. But what's a Southern Gothic vibe? What
They're
does that look like?
Listen, that's their own way of describing their environment, and I'm all for it. And the thing that I like that you just said is you're there for everything, the tears and everything that people are gonna be doing, because we always talk about, stop playing it safe, try to push the envelope, you know.
Wait, no, wait.
Go,
That's a thing.
yeah.
Southern Gothic is a thing.
Oh yeah.
I just looked it up. It's a subgenre of Gothic fiction in American literature that takes place in the American South. Okay, so this isn't like, all right, deeply flawed, disturbing, or eccentric characters,
That just lets you know that we haven't seen anything above it.
grotesque situations.
Oh, so that might be where the whole
Mm.
monster situation and evolution and mutations come in at.
Yeah, because I initially heard the first thing I heard about this game was that it was going to be third person perspective, but it would be like horror, like more on the horror side of things. Maybe that's where the word on this kind of came from, that it was more about um god, like grotesque kind of
Mm-hmm.
kind of imagery. But yeah, like, this is very intriguing, very different. Sounds very different than what we typically see, which I'm all for. I love playing games that are different. A
Yeah,
lot of the
that.
times, a lot of the stuff I'm interested in is something that I haven't seen before, which is why I was so excited for 12 minutes, because 12 minutes was doing things that you didn't see before from other games. So yeah, I'm all for this. Oh, let's go, man.
So we also got one that was kind of leaked on Jeff Grubb's Grub Snack show from Obsidian. So what did you take from that one, Slomo?
What, with the Pentiment one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like I said,
No, I know. Yeah,
I'm playing Disco Elysium.
Yeah, you know
So
if you were done with your thoughts on it.
no, I'm probably more excited about Pentiment than I am about Compulsion's game, because I wish I would have played Disco Elysium when it was winning all those awards 2 years ago. I probably should have played it then, because it's a really good game.
Yeah, I know, because you're playing it. Cognito, he said he was playing it on an IOP this week. So it seems like, yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of people playing it right now. Are you playing? What you playing on PC?
Yeah, I played on PC. I bought it a while ago. I bought it when it was winning those awards with the intention of playing it 2 years ago, and just forgot and never did. And then I just was looking at, because I've been burning through my backlog, and it said, okay, what's left? What's next? And I saw Disco Elysium was still something I hadn't played yet, so I reinstalled it, and yeah, started playing it a couple nights ago. And yeah, it's definitely something that I will stream soon. Yeah, because I feel like that one has so many different endings that it will be worth it to stream it. It'll still seem fresh, even if I beat the game before I stream it. It'll still seem fresh, because I probably would be seeing dialogue and choices that I hadn't seen before. But that's the kind of, how people always talk about Japanese RPGs versus Western RPGs.
Yeah.
The strengths of Western RPGs is that kind of storytelling, where the choice really is role playing, in the sense that the player has so much, they have so much say in what happens and how things turn out. And I really like stuff like that. You know, I was a big BioWare RPG fan, and
Oh yeah.
BioWare isn't what they used to be, but the I guess like the offspring of the kind of choices that BioWare games provided for people, as well as like In Exile and some of the older studios from Interplay. They're showing their roots here, and Obsidian is one of those offspring of Interplay anyway. So if anyone's going to be able to kind of take what, I forgot the name of the studio, they get that studio name for Disco Elysium is very odd. It's what is the name of this studio? It's hold on. It's ZAUM. I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. Yeah, ZAUM. But they're small. They published that game too. They're a small studio. Like Obsidian could take their idea and really blow up with it. So I think the only kind of like concern I have is that the screenshot I saw, like the time error is supposed to take place in is like, I don't know, it's like a long time ago. But like the art style might feel
far away.
Don't start. The art style might throw some people off. I think some people might be turned off by the art style, because you know how a lot of people are very visual and won't even try a game if the art direction doesn't speak to them. Disco Elysium is almost like an oil painting with the way it looks. It doesn't look bad, just different enough that people won't care. But I don't know, like if from the screenshot that Jez Gordon put in that article, if that's the way it looks, I could see some people being like, I'll pass without even trying it. So.
Right. Nope. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, it's gonna be look, man, and the further we get along in this generation, the closer we get to 2022 through 2022 into 2023, we're gonna see exactly what Xbox and all of their massive amount of studios they have is going to be working on. Because I think that at a certain point, that's all everybody wants to know. Not only what they're working on, but we want to see the games. And once we start seeing the games and getting a chance to experience them ourselves, I think that's when everything's going to kind of change for Xbox. So I am always a fan of leaks and everything. And Capotion, you know, their game sounds really, really interesting. It doesn't seem too much of a far-fetched from what they already do now when it comes to like the whole, well, I'm trying to think of the word that they use, because they use it like when you play, did you play We Happy Few?
Yeah, I tried to play it a couple times. I couldn't get into it.
Right, because it, like, what was it? Just the aesthetic, the story, the gameplay? What threw it off for you?
It was hard to say because it was a while ago.
For me, it was just more the fact that I felt like it was trying to be something it wasn't. It wasn't like, I like the whole.
That's part of what they said was the problem with the game, because initially it was started out as a survival game,
right?
And then people saw it and loved it, but because it had a very similar art aesthetic to BioShock.
Yes,
people was like BioShock, yep. And the mistake they made was not pushing back and probably pushing back on Gearbox as well, who probably was like, yeah, it's BioShock, yeah. And they're like, no, it's not BioShock. You're not making BioShock. This is a survival game. Right. BioShock wasn't a survival game. Like, that should have been the answers, but I think they got kind of caught up in the attention and the hype the game generated and the excitement that it generated when they showed it at did they show it at Bethesda show? I can't. They showed it at somebody's E3 show, and I think they decided to try to go in that direction to provide what people thought the game was, and that's when it started out as one thing, and then it kind of turned into more narrative driven, especially with some of the expansions that they did or DLC that they did after launch. And I kind of feel like that's like, you probably should have just stuck to one thing. Right. You know, or if you were going to go in that narrative direction, really pull out a lot of the survival element stuff, really, and then spend more time on the game and delay it. But, you know, when you have a publisher that's not really into that, then you're probably don't really have a lot of choices there.
No, I agree. So, slow-mo.
Mm-hmm.
There's a game called The Avengers. You know, it's about a year and a half old. Probably not even a year and a half. Probably like a year old at this point. And me and you both said that this game was kind of DOA.
Yeah, yeah.
We said this game was DOA. But then I remember the conversation. He's like, oh, PlayStation got Spider-Man, though. We got Spider-Man. And when was Spider-Man supposed to come out, Slow-Mo? Wasn't it supposed to be like almost six months ago? 7 months ago?
I don't know when it was supposed to come out, but it was supposed to be out before now.
Well, listen. I guess it's never too late, because guess who is coming to Avengers? Marvel Avengers is finally getting the web slinger himself. They're getting Spider-Man. Now,
That's great. All 2,000 people still playing the Avengers are going to love it.
We don't care, but do you foresee a lot of people that bought the game? Because I know a lot of people, yourself included, bought this game on PlayStation.
I didn't buy it on PlayStation.
Oh, no, you did. You bought it on PC. You said you refused.
I said I'm not buying. I said I am not buying this game on an inferior platform for one character that I don't even know when that character is coming out, which I was 1,000% right. Because look, if Spider-Man was there at launch, I still wouldn't have done it. But I would have at least would have made more sense why people were choosing to buy it there.
Right.
Because he would have been there. People are playing the exact same game that everyone else is playing, but playing it on the worst platform that when it came out that it could perform on. Just because off the promise of a character that will be showing up eventually, and look where we are now. A year later, it's finally showing up, and the game's dead. So what does it matter?
It's beyond dead at this point. Like, what's the player count on Steam? It's like I at one point I think it was like below 1,000 people playing it on Steam or something.
It was before some of the expansions came out on Steam. It was below. I'm actually about to look it up now.
Ooh, go ahead and use that i9. i9 what 900K?
I have an i7. Still nice though. Okay. No, this is terrible.
He said this is terrible. What is it, Slow-Mo?
Okay. So, it has been under 1,000 average players concurrently on the average, except for 3 months this year, and that's in August, July, and October. Those are the only times it was over in on Steam, because I don't think it's in the Epic Game Store. It might be.
I think it's just on Steam right now. It might be on Epic now, but it wasn't initially.
Yeah, on average, it has been below 1,000 players for the majority of the year, which fully explains. I'm sorry, October 2020, which was when it came out, July and August. So from September and October, it has. I'm pretty sure August is when Black Panther came out, because that's the highest it ever was, and then it went back down September and October. So yes, it's pretty freaking low. And it fully explains why the couple of times I tried to do the DLC and I couldn't find anybody to play with, and the AI is brain dead dumb. And like it just makes the doing those missions with the DLC or trying to do the Avengers Initiative stuff painful, because there's nobody to play with, and it's like in that part is designed to be played with other people. It's just they really should. I blame Square Enix for pushing this whole idea of making it a games as a service on Crystal Dynamics, a developer that was not set up to do those kind of games, nor we don't even know had any desire to do those kind of games. And if you play the main campaign, you see Crystal Dynamics and their talent, because the main campaign's good, the characters are good, the story is good, it's enjoyable. It's just that as soon as that's over, it's I mean, look, some people have said the DLC. The mid IQ thinks the DLC is the best part of the game, but also that stuff is story driven as well, and that's that story driven aspect of like third person perspective gameplay is with Crystal Dynamics bread and butter, and unfortunately they weren't able to make this game what it really could be, because it could have been just as good as Guardians of the Galaxy is.
Mm.
But yeah, waiting for Spider-Man, that's a major L for anybody who made that choice and they had a different platform to play it on.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's like I almost forgot, and it's not even that I almost forgot. I did forget the Spider-Man was coming, and then they finally, showed like the web swinger's coming. I'm like, okay, cool. It's already too late. The game's already dead. It's in a grave. You can't resuscitate it. It's over. The game's over. I was gonna ask you the most dumbest question. Do you think that this could even do anything to help resurrect the game? But
nope.
You pretty much answered that question.
Reminded me that they gave that game out on PS Plus.
They did. They did give it away on PS Plus.
Wait. Or was it PS Now? I can't remember if it was on PS Now, which means it's probably not still on PS Now, or whether they gave it away in PS Plus. But either way, I know I installed it and never touched it on PlayStation.
My kids played it on PlayStation because that's where Sony blessed me with a code, so I let my kids play it, but I refuse to do it.
Yeah, if I still have access to it, when Spider-Man comes out, I'll jump in and see what it looks like. I'm more curious of, after playing the amazing Insomniac games, how Crystal Dynamics would, yeah, like how the combat is going to be for Spider-Man. And because that's a pretty high bar to reach, because like Spider-Man just feels so good. The combat in the Insomniac games is just it's excellent. I love it. It's
God.
great.
Rodimus is being real messy right now. Sounds like a game not for the Peggy Sue crowd. Since PlayStation is so dry this holiday season, here comes Spider-Man. Will come and save the day. PlayStation games so dry this holiday. They gonna need some kind of gravy help with the fanboys to swallow this turkey.
We don't need to be repeating all of the console war and fanboy nonsense coming from ex-Bottomus right now.
We got listen. Rodimus is a supporter, and we got.
Of course he is. But he doing a little much right now.
He doing a lot. He doing a lot.
He doing a little much right now. Look, if you're a PlayStation only gamer, you got some stuff to look forward to. You got, I guess you got Spider-Man. No one cares about that. But you got Death's Door, which is a really good game.
Yes.
That's coming out in a few weeks, I think, a week or two. And Death's Door is amazing. I think it should be a Game of the Year nominee.
Yeah.
And it's going to be on PlayStation. So, and only $20. So, hey, since you guys love to pay for your games, pay that $20, enjoy that game.
You know what? When it comes to paying for games and stuff like that, me and you, most of us, pretty much everybody in this chat, we listen to the Iron Lords podcast, and we laugh at King David and all the stuff that he says, and
here we go.
It's not in Game Pass. Oh, I ain't play it. so when it comes to Game Pass, do you think it will ever? I mean, at some point it will, especially if it gets the games to do it. But what do you think has to be the IP? What kind of IP do they need to be in there in order to take Game Pass to another level? To get it on people's, not even level, to get it on more people's radar. Like, because right now I think they do a pretty decent job in promoting it, because they put it all over your dashboard. If you don't have Xbox Game Pass or Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you're getting bombarded by sign up for $1, sign up for $3, sign up for your first month and get 2 months or 3 months free of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Even on your PC, when you first, I don't know if anybody noticed this. If you buy a brand new laptop or you buy any type of Android tablet, as soon as you boot it up, the first thing that pops up on your screen, well, probably not the first thing, but one of the first or two or three things is, oh, this laptop or this tablet is powered powered with Xbox Game Pass, and it tells you you can sign in and claim your free month of subscriptions and stuff like that. So I think they do a good job in promoting it in that regard, but games is what's going to do it for people. We see games, we saw what Squid Games did for Netflix, and Netflix don't need any help, and they found a way to have a game generate over $10 billion, not 10 billion, billions of dollars for it, and it's only been out since September. So
it's actually the most successful game
TV show
title
in Netflix history.
And think about that. They've had Stranger Things, House of Cards. They've had some really good shows in Netflix.
And this show's only been on for 2 months.
Yeah, and it killed it. And you know what that's about? That's worldwide appeal.
Yep.
You know, stuff like Stranger Things appeals to an American audience because it reminds us of the 80s, and we get to see all the nostalgia and them bringing back certain music that we liked, and clothes, and you know, the kids are, you know, your prototypical kind of American children from that time period, and all that stuff. But that appeals to us great, but doesn't appeal to everybody. Squid Game, somehow, even though, look, I'm not saying somehow like it's bad, but I don't know why it appealed to literally the entire world, but it did, right? Squid Game's awesome. I couldn't stop watching. I couldn't stop.
Once I started watching it, it was a wrap.
But apparently everybody couldn't stop watching, and that's why it really like catapulted Netflix's subscriber count that much higher, and became the most successful thing on Netflix in a short period of time. I think with Game Pass, to get to what you were talking about, like what kind of game does Game Pass need in order to turn it into like a must-have kind of service?
Yep.
And I think it needs to be a game that has worldwide appeal. Now, I'm not saying it has to be a Fortnite or a Minecraft, a new Minecraft. Well, maybe that is what I'm saying. Maybe it does need to be something like that, because those games have worldwide appeal. So I'm not saying it has to be as creative as Minecraft is, or has to be a battle royale game, but it has to be something that is so unique that no one else is doing it, hits that way where everyone wants to play it, and the only place to play it is within the Xbox ecosystem, and it's day one in Game Pass. That's the kind of game. Now, what is that game? I don't know, because if I didn't know, I'd be trying to make it so I can make some money out here. but whatever that game is, for their sake, I think they better hope it's like a first party game and not something that is published by one of their third parties, because then that's only going to make it more difficult for them to kind of like nail that developer down and make sure that the game, that developer stays with them. But the IP definitely would if they're publishing it. But you know, you kind of want maybe one of your first parties to come up with something like that, so that it just makes all the other stuff about keeping it irrelevant and keeping your developer on top of things that much easier.
Right.
You know?
No, I agree with that. And Erodimus did bring up a point. He said they are bringing back 1 versus 100. I don't know if 1 versus 100 will do it, but did you play 1 versus 100 on 360 when they had it, Slumma?
No, I didn't.
You never got it. You never jumped in there in the game show, and it was interesting. It was fun. I'm not gonna lie. 1 versus, I never understood why they got rid of it. I mean, maybe because of the logistics, and they actually had an actual host that did host that show weekly. So I don't know what the logistics on that was, but it was definitely fun. And something like that, you know what? I think Xbox needs more events. Not just, the games are cool, but the one thing that gaming does, it brings people together, and nothing brings people together more like an event. They need to do something like around events inside of Game Pass. Like, I know they try to do that when it comes to like the point system, where you can go into Game Pass and get, you know, Xbox currency for just playing games and stuff. And I think that does a good job in just incentivizing people to play different games, because there's always something daily or something new weekly, to, you know, try to hit thresholds to keep people in there. But I think they need to really find a way, and I don't know what it is, because like I said, if I knew, I would just tell Microsoft to do it and tell them to pay me later. They just need to find a way to incorporate the one thing that Xbox has, I feel, better than anybody else, and that's their online community, their infrastructure, the one thing that everybody, you know, basically says Xbox is the best at, their services when it comes to just having people and a community involved in all the games that they're playing. And I think that would be, you know, outside of the game, like you just said, something that has worldwide appeal. I think that is probably the number one thing they need to do. But when it comes to like just a consistent thing from week to week, they need to have like bounties or something, stuff that you can, you know, achieve to go through when it comes to a game, when it comes to that. Finding a way to make the achievement system be way better than what it actually is. I remember where they were talking about achievements actually being used for stuff in games and stuff, like if you
I remember that.
Think about that. You're in a service that you pretty much have a limited access to achievements. And they give it, like, that's another benefit of being in Xbox Game Pass. If they found a way to allow you to monetize your achievements and say, hey, you hit 20,000, you know, achievement points. This gives you blank, 2% off in the Xbox store, or 1% off in the Xbox store, or something like that. Or it gives you 5, if you get 100%, if you get 100% in this game, it unlocks a 15% discount on the DLC. If you love the game enough to beat the game and get all the achievements, here's for you to go out and get the DLC because you love the game that much. I just feel like those are some things that they need to do to leverage just their giant community that they have that love to play their games, you know? And then I think all that stuff can be just tied into Game Pass. And if they did something like that, that would just be amazing, because right now achievements, we talk about all the time, you know, achievements matter because it tells people who's doing what and who's not doing what. That's cool and all, but I think it's just been neglected. You know, that's why people don't really care about it, honestly, for the most part, because you're not really, it's just a number next to your name for a lot of people. It's not really something they celebrate compared to what it used to be when you first started getting them back in 2000. I want to say with 2001, when Xbox Live became a thing in 2000. Well, actually, achievements did cut to 2005 when 360 came out, 2006. So that's what I think about it. But dude, we are actually super early. So when last time we had a show that literally ended before 11:30?
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, man. So
but also we haven't talked about the games that we've been playing.
No, we're still gonna get
so that might take a minute.
Yeah, so too. Yeah, that's definitely gonna take a minute. So I do want to, because we haven't done this in a while, and I wanted to do it if we had the time. We haven't opened it up to you guys in a while to see, you know, questions you guys got for us and everything like that. Want to take the next at least 5 minutes to do that. So if you guys got any questions you want to ask me or Slow-Mo, please fire away. But as always, Slow-Mo, while they're doing that, giving us their questions, tell me what's been going on with you, what you've been playing, and what's going on in an amazing channel of yours.
Well, I'm still working on my a couple of the videos that I'm working on, very close to finishing one of them. That's on the YouTube side. On the Twitch side, I have been playing. I've streamed Forza twice already. I might be streaming either Bright Memory Infinite or Battlefield 2042 tomorrow. But I played House of Ashes, which turned out to be probably the best one of the Dark Pictures anthology that Supermassive Games has done so far. I definitely recommend it. Been playing, like I said, Disco Elysium, which is really, really good. And it's still playing Tales of Arise, still playing Hades. I'm getting closer to getting the epilogue on Xbox for Hades, and on Steam PC, I'm close to getting the in-game credits. So yeah, I just been, you know, doing my usual, playing a whole bunch of games. and enjoying myself. But yeah, that's really about it, man. What about you?
Well, working as usual. Um, so anybody that didn't see it, I posted it on Twitter yesterday. I have a brand new, well, not a brand new PC. I'm gutting pretty much all my old stuff, and
It's almost a brand new
it's
PC,
pretty much
baby.
almost. I mean, I even went out and got a brand new cooler today because I was sitting there like, I kind of just want to get a brand new cooler too, just because part of me wants to
What
just.
kind of cooler did you get?
I got another Corsair. I got the new step up one from
Liquid?
this one. Yeah, another AIO.
Is it what? Is what H? Is it one of
H100.
the H series? H100.
It's the
Okay.
H100i, the extreme. What is it? H100i Elite Caterpillar.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really really cool. It's literally the next step up from the one that I have now. And the reason I like this one is mostly because I can use this cooler, but this one has a little bit more faster water flow through the pump and stuff, and trying to cool a 5950 is kind of crazy. So I just wanted to get something newer. Plus I didn't had this pump for like 4 or 5 years now, and I'm thinking I'm just going to repurpose this into another PC and give it to my daughter because she's getting into PC gaming and stuff. So she's going to get the great 8700K.
Smart decision.
Oh yeah, the great 87 one. Low, and let me tell you, I was super happy to hear Steve from Gamer Nexus say this. He was talking about the new GPUs that we were all talking about, talk about the 12 series and stuff like that. Yeah. And when he was talking about if you should upgrade or not, he was like, well, if you're on a 10 series, then not really. You don't really have to. You're really, really good, because 11 series, he feels like it's trash, so you shouldn't have upgraded to that anyways. He said, but if you're on 10, you can kind of wait. He said, but if you're on something older like 7 or 8, but then he caveated that and said, but if you're on 8 and you got an 8700K, you're pretty good still. Because let's be for real, 8700K was a beast. It is still a beast today.
Yeah, look, I have a 9700K. I don't feel like I need to upgrade at all. If I do decide at some point that I need to upgrade from my 9700K, which I think I probably got another good like 3 years out of it before I need to do anything like that. I'm just gonna build a new PC at that point. I mean, we're gonna be deep into like my motherboard is a Z390, which is PCIe 3.0. By the time like 3 years from now, we're gonna be knee deep into PCIe 5.0. I'm gonna need a new motherboard to get a new CPU. And I've always said, if I gotta buy a new motherboard and then take everything off of my current one to put it on that one, I'm just like, I don't really care for my case already.
You just go build a new PC.
I'll just build a new PC, and then I'll use this one as a streaming PC, and I'll be all set.
Yeah,
but we did have a super chat from Bunty, $5 super chat. Appreciate that, Bunty. He says, if they say you can use your achievements to buy anything on Xbox, but your points goes away, would you spend it? This question is for panel and chat. I'll go first. I absolutely would spend it. Here's why. I don't care about my score. Because the fact that I still achieved what I achieved is still there. Like, so if the score goes away, but if someone says, yo, Slowbo, did you beat the X game? And I can point to, X game, and it has the date where I got that achievement and all that. I don't care about the points. Yeah, I'll go ahead and use those to buy games instead of spending actual money. Yeah, why not?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I don't, the achievement is still there. It's still going to show the date that you popped the trophy. It's just going to say 0 next to it versus whatever the number was. So,
right.
I do think that's going to probably be a harder discussion for people like Rand. I mean, probably not Rand now, because, Rand now said he don't really too much care for achievements. But what about Rand that was going after 1 million gamer score? That might be a little bit different of a story. But in general, I think a lot of people would just say, those points can kick it. Now, the question really comes down to is trophies. Because would people be willing to lose trophies if that happened? Because
Sony wouldn't do anything like that.
I know they wouldn't, but I'm just saying, but trophies.
They want you to spend money.
Trophies a little bit different than achievements. Because I think the funny thing about the system between trophies and achievements, trophies for some reason just seems more, it has more oomph to it. Like, achievements are just a number, where a trophy is something where you got a platinum, you got bronze, you got golds, where where achievements is just a numeric number that just keeps going up and stacks upon itself. Versus trophies, you have individual trophies for individual games, whereas the overall trophy score really kind of doesn't matter. Like, people don't really care about the trophy score on PlayStation as much, and if they do, I could be wrong, I don't know, but for the most part, most people would just say, I got 99 platinums.
I think they care about both of that. I think they care about their overall trophy score, and they care about how many platinums.
Well, they just started getting the accumulated, list of how many, like their trophy score. They just
right.
They just got that to the extent of where it weighs certain trophies a certain way and stuff like that. So you might be right, but yeah, I think a lot of people will just say, screw the points, and I just give me more stuff off.
Now, if they ended up doing something like where there's like a cap to it, so like, let's say you want a full price game that's $60-$70, right?
Right.
But you can't, for each individual purchase, use enough of your achievement points to pay for the full thing. It only pays for like half or something. Then I'm like, man, I'll just keep my points then. If I can't pay for the full thing, if I'm not, it's not paying off the whole thing for a new game that I will own completely, I still got to put some money in, and I lose achievement points, then I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that's why I
think either go all in or just don't do it at all.
Yeah, that's why I think the whole, if you love a game, that's like, if you love a game enough to get either a platinum or get 1,000 achievement points in it, or even if you don't want to say the 1,000, just say you want to get anything above like 750 or 700, then it unlocks the ability for you to get a discount on that game, and it scales not the game, but the DLC or your next game, and it scales depending on how many achievements you get in the previous game. So like the game you just played, if you get 500 achievements points in it, it pops a $5 discount on your next game. You get the 600, it goes up to 10%, and then so on and so forth until you get to like 1,000, and they say, oh well, you know what, here's a voucher that gives you money off your next game, maybe 15.
I got an idea.
What's that?
They could do it 2 scores. And this might get a little complicated, but hear me out.
Oh yeah, this is it.
One is your overall score, your overall achievement score. And then your other one is your spendable achievement score. So like, that's eternal to you. So if you want to use your the points that you got based off of you playing games that are now you can put towards buying new games, only you see that. And it's a currency or a savings that you can dig into if you want. But then your overall achievement score for just playing games and getting achievement points is still there. That's not what you can spend, but it's, so like, in a way it would be, it's still allowing people to have that prestige, or that look at my all the games I've played and the high score that I have, right? While still also getting some kind of benefit out of it.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, outside of that, man, I don't have anything really else going. I mean, I'm gonna break my computer down probably tonight. Start piecing together all this new stuff on the motherboard, switch out the AIO and everything. So that seems to be this, and I don't gotta go to work until 1 o'clock tomorrow, so I'll probably be up late doing that today. But outside of that, man, it's just been Forza, Call of Duty, and tomorrow some Battlefield, and see where it all goes from there. But this has been a really cool show. Really appreciate everybody that came through. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the Med IQ. Shout out to Bunty. Shout out to Dark Saya, K Asante, Erodimus, Sir Taz earlier, the great Fonzarelli. Thanks for coming through. I saw Attic in there for a second with the googly eyes, acting like all he can say is I don't know if he was giving it to you or me, Slomo, because at a certain point we were both probably talking bad about Xbox too much. But shout out to everybody. Can't name it.
That was the case.
Probably so. But shout out to everybody. If we didn't name you, really appreciate you coming through. Ken H and Lethal Terminus and everybody else. John Blaze 4K came through. Shout out to you, Expert. Game Over Brian with the 2 great super chats is appreciated, and all the super chat love you guys give to the show, really appreciate it. But this has been episode 59 of the DPS podcast. Next week we will be on Slow Mo's channel, and we will, hopefully start on time, and I won't be eating at the beginning of the show, so Slow Mo can't talk mess about me. But
that'd be great.
That would be great. But Slow Mo, do you have anything else for the people?
Nope, man. Great show. Great job hosting. Great chat as always. You guys enjoy your games. Have a great night, man. Be safe.
Yeah, be safe, guys. We will talk to you guys later, and make sure you check out Asante and on their podcast on Saturday. The Gaming Circle. Check out Scumcast on Saturday with the Ash and Luca too. So make sure you hit us all up, and we'll see you guys later on in the week.